accurate depiction of what takes place. In no way, shape, fashion, or form are we allowed to abuse that individual in any way, regardless of the crime or the circumstances.
They are not allowed to use any types of threats or coercion or, of course, brutality during any types of interviews. They are not allowed to make any promises of favorable benefit or favorable reward or better treatment from the prosecution's office in order to elicit or get some information from these suspects. And if it's been deemed that they have done any of those things, then any of the statements or admissions made by the suspect would be suppressed, would not be allowed to be used in court.
While physical abuse and psychological pressure are strictly prohibited, the police do have some leeway when conducting an interrogation. For example, they can lie to the suspect.
What would you say if I told you that Fred pawned the stereo equipment belonging to the neighbor?
They don't have to tell the individual that they're a suspect. They can even, the courts have held, use deception and tell them, for instance, we have this information, we can fill X, Y, and Z, how do you respond? They can use deception in interviewing potential suspects.
Now, if the suspect is a juvenile, a person under the legal age of majority, either 16 or 18, the police should make a reasonable effort to have the child's parents present for questioning, although the law does not require it.
If, for instance, a police officer interviews a child and never makes contact with that parent, and the child says, I said I wanted to have my parents present, that could have serious consequences.
How to make Kool-Aid.
Confesses to committing a crime, and the child was held stay for 4 hours by the police, and no one made an effort to make contact with those parents. That confession could be suppressed by the courts, so that could be evidence that's lost because efforts weren't made to make contact with the parents.
Real town boys.
So the police may ask questions to gain information, leads on other suspects, or even a confession. But you don't have to answer a police officer's questions. Everyone, no matter who they are or what they've done, has a right to silence. And it's guaranteed by the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You do not have to talk to the police. Outside of giving the police basic information about your name and address, you have absolute rights under the United States Constitution to refuse to talk to the police. Under the Fifth Amendment, you have an absolute right to remain silent, and you do not have to discuss your case.
Ain't that right?
Or any circumstances surrounding it with the police.
All he eat is burgers.
And that's called the privilege of self-determination.
So when should you talk, and when should you stay quiet?
I mean, I'm not even
if you're the focus of a criminal investigation, most lawyers say you should never talk to police without an attorney present, even if you're innocent. Now, if the police have a reasonable suspicion that you're involved in a crime, whether you match the suspect's description or your behavior appears suspicious.
Okay.
The guy sitting on the steps around the corner from me wearing a black t-shirt, black pants, just made a sound with a black t-shirt.
And if it looks like you're carrying a concealed weapon, they can pat you down for their own protection and yours.
You got anything on you? Guns, bombs, any of that stuff? Okay. Is that okay to pat you down?
This rule is known as stop and frisk.
Hey, yo, hold on. Before we look at we matching today.
And sometimes what begins as a simple pat down can lead to an arrest.
This nigga called me, asked me what I was gonna wear. This nigga fucking liar. I put down everything I love. No cross count on Holy Bible.
Have to suspect and have to have information
that nigga lying.
That will lead them to believe that that individual may have committed a crime or may be in the process of committing a crime.
Just look at this smile.
You can't stop an individual just because they look
fake,
you know,
it's real.
I would think there are more occasions for that to happen with juveniles than with adults, simply because juveniles, for instance, if they're not in school, they're supposed to be in school during school hours. If a police officer sees a child and suspects that the child is truant, then the police officer can make contact with the child to find out whether he or she is in school. And for instance, if the child has smells of marijuana, once the police makes contact, the smell of marijuana gives the police officer justification to, search the child.
Now, what if the police want to search inside your house for evidence? Well, they need a search warrant for that, thanks to the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, which prohibits against unreasonable